I'm glad to see everybody here. Thanks so much to everybody that is tuning in. We have some excellent candidates, and I'm excited for y'all to get to know all of them. So the way that this is going to work is the first 45 minutes is our exec questioning time, and I have some questions that I'm going to be asking them that we made in collaboration with our team. And then after that, we'll also have some time for Q&A. So if you're watching, feel free to put it in the chat if you have any questions. And then starting at 9 o'clock will be just the presidential debate. So our presidential candidates are being so awesome and tuning in for this section as well. But this first little bit will just be our executive candidates besides the president. So I hope that makes sense. But without further ado, what we're going to do is just go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves, because I think it's important for everyone to know a little bit about who you are. So how about you say your name, your major, and then what position you're running for. Obviously, it's also on your name, but I think it's good to hear it from your mouth. So I'm going to start with just how everyone is on my screen, no particular order. How about Krista?
Hello, as Abigail said, I'm Krista Lyford. Specifically, I'm an English major and I'm running for Vice President of Academic Relations.
Awesome, thank you so much, Krista. Olivia.
Hi everyone, my name is Olivia Kaur. I'm an international studies major with a track in international affairs and global policy, and I am also a candidate for the VP of Academic Relations.
Excellent, thank you so much. Let's do Max next.
Hi, my name's Max. I'm a third-year accounting and finance student. I'm running for Vice President of Finance.
Awesome, thank you. Let's go Javin.
Hi everyone, I'm Javin Kay. I am a third-year sociology major with a pre-law certificate, and I'm running for the Vice President of Student Relations.
Awesome. Christine.
Hi guys, I'm Christine Miranda, and I am currently in my 5th year. I am in the Biotechnology and Business Administration stream, and I am also a candidate of the VP of Student Relations.
Excellent. Ezekiel.
Hello everyone, I'm Ezekiel, second year Biblical Studies major, and I'm also running for the position of Vice President of Student Relations.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then let's do Kevin and Andrew.
Hello everyone, I'm Kevin Chai. I'm a third year major in finance, accounting, as well as marketing, and I'm going for VP.
Excellent, thank you so much, Kevin.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Bouchard. I'm a second year business major, and I'm applying for the executive vice president position.
Awesome, thank you so much, Andrew. And then I'll go ahead and have Annie and Sarah Kate introduce themselves here as well, but y'all will be waiting to debate for later on. So let's do Annie and then Sarah Kate.
Hi everyone, my name is Annie Zander. I'm currently a third year at Trinity and I'm studying acting with a minor in theater. Oh, and I'm running for president. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Kate Davis. I'm currently in my 3rd year of art and design, and I'm also a candidate for president.
Awesome, thank you so much. Well, I'm glad that everyone watching is getting to meet all of you guys because you are all excellent candidates. So I'm excited for what this night will hold. Let's just go ahead and jump into the first question. So the way that this is going to work is I'm not going to do this in any particular order. So if you'd like to answer it, just do the little hand raising button that you hopefully all see at the bottom of your screen, and then I'll recognize you and then you can speak. So that's the way it's going to work. So let's just jump right in. So the first question is, in your own words, what is the mission of TWUSA? Yes, Kevin.
Yes, so I believe TWUSA, as the representation of the student body, should be there to advocate for all students, no matter where you're from, no matter your gender, we should be there for everyone and to hear everyone's needs. And I feel like that's the primary mission of TWUSA.
Awesome, thank you so much. Yes, oh, sorry, did I say hand? Oh, yes, Krista.
So having been on TWUSA as an associate for this past semester, I'd say that with that behind the scenes experience, TWUSA to me has a lot of like concrete impact when it comes to things that are available for students to participate in. So to define what TWUSA does is, yeah, like Kevin said, it like represents and advocates for students, but it also connects them with resources and provides them with ways to invest in their community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Awesome. I'll leave a couple more seconds if anyone would like to answer that. Yes, Olivia.
Yeah, I'll just jump in really quickly. I love what the other two candidates said. I personally, from my experience working with TWUSA in the past, I really see TWUSA as both the mediator and the encourager between the university staff and the faculties and the student population that relies on them and is also here asking for things from them. And their main focus and their main goal is to not only advocate, but make sure the messages are translated from the students to those in charge of their careers and their academics.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olivia. Andrew, yes.
Thank you, Abigail. I totally agree with you. And I think another thing that is a big part of TWUSA is that we are here to create a culture of inclusion and a culture where everybody is represented. So we're trying to build each other up for good. And that is a big part of TWUSA's mission to me.
Amazing. Anyone else that would like to add? All right. Yes, Ezekiel.
Quickly, I think for me, TWUSA is for the people, by the people. I mean, students in this case. I think it's expression of our desires to the Trinity administration.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. All right, then we will move on to our next question. So this one is specific to each of y'all's roles. And as we ask this, I'm also just keeping a timer so you know, so you don't go over 1 minute in your answers. I'll just give you a little time signal for when your time's up, but so far we've been good. But this next question is related to your specific role. What initiatives are unique to your platform and or your position for next year? Yes, Krista.
Thanks, Abigail. So I would say that something that is really important to me and is definitely like an initiative and also cornerstone of my campaign is the idea of reaching out to virtual students. I was a completely virtual student last semester, and it really sucked feeling kind of isolated, and knowing that there are lots of opportunities to get involved, even if it is virtual, is so important. So communicating with the student body, I want to partner a lot with the next VPSR and make sure that communications are going out to people so they know the things that are available, like clubs. And I would really like to support and encourage the representatives and all the things that they're doing that's specific to their faculty.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Olivia.
So for my platform, I decided to create 2 pillars. I wanted to keep it very simple and understandable. So I focused on encouragement and engagement. So what that means for me is not only reaching out to students, but encouraging them throughout the whole year. So starting in the fall, making sure that there is a club fair, whether that be online or a smaller, safe, extended period of time in person as well, but also online for our online students, and making sure that throughout the year, clubs are given visual representation more than they have this year, so that with COVID, they can not only see each other and reach out to other clubs, but draw students into their own clubs so that they can find encouragement in what they're doing and be engaged and feel empowered with their different communities.
Thanks so much, Olivia. Anyone else like to answer this? I see Andrew and then Ezekiel.
Thank you, Abigail. There are three aspects of my campaign that I'd really like to touch on that are really important to me. Number one, online students. There's a big disconnect between online students, on-campus students, and commuters this year. And I think for online students, we need to advocate for them, give them resources to connect for the university, and give them resources so they can have success this year. So I've reached out to Suzanne Dreger, head of the Learning Commons, and we're going to be partnering in creating events and advertising so that those resources that the Learning Commons have can get out to online students. Second, for commuters, I've reached out to Glenn Hansen, and we've talked about adding CCF incorporation into TWUSA so they can sit in on some of our meetings and will really help advocate to the commuters by incorporating a commuter in TWUSA. And finally, for all students, transparency within our meetings. So one thing that I want to do is live stream our TBMs on Instagram and on Facebook Live, which would help all students get a better picture of how TWUSA operates.
Thank you. Ezekiel.
I have really three simple pillars by which I want to move next year: wholeness, community, and partnership. With regards to wholeness, I just want to help students in their faith. And if you're not part of this Christian family, I would still love to partner with you just to help you have a better experience of Trinity. Whether that looks like with partnering with the Wellness Center, just to help give you tools to help with your own mental health. And for Christians, I want to partner with Paul and with the discipleship program ministries just to help them also grow in their faith. With regard to community, I want to start including the fourth years, the first years, and the communities better into their student experience, because I think they can kind of get lost in the kind of outskirts of our community. So just include them with the fourth and first years. I want to partner with the mentoring program that the discipleship programs ministry puts on every year to get them more included. Commuters, I want to start planning events monthly for them so that they can kind of get connected in this community. And lastly, for partnership, I just want to create a space where students that are already speaking out on issues that are matter to them, they can use my platform and be even louder. That's really the simple things that I want to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I see Christine.
For me, it's mainly I have two main visions. First is to, especially from last year, I felt like students didn't exactly know how to communicate with their professors or even be encouraged to advocate. So I really want to start that at the very beginning of the semester and educating them that there is a representative for them at TWUSA that can be beside them and take them, not just facilitate them, but take them from point A to point B and walk with them through that journey. And especially understanding how that journey fits into their goals, and as well as with the university as well. My second would be because there has been a theme of dissociation and isolation, especially from the last year. I want to first understand the vision of certain circles that we have in the community and make sure that our students can connect with them and educate them on how these certain circles in our community can tie into their aspirations and goals and personal development.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, I see Max.
So on my biggest thing is transparency. Everyone at Trinity pays a $75 fee that goes towards TWUSA. I think it's really important for everyone to know how that money is actually spent, how that money is used for the good, and what it does on campus. So I think I would like to make sure that that is actually revealed and that people get to know where that money is going and that their student association is spending wisely.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Javin, I was just alerted that you don't have a hand raising button. Would you like to go?
I don't know why I don't have that hand raising option, but I will try to figure it out. But one thing that I would like to engage with going into next year is just this idea of mental health and online classes. So one thing I'm pushing for is just associated with mental health is making sure that the resources that we have here on campus are made much more clear to the students here. And I think that a lot of the times students are either having all of these resources fleshed out by the academic stresses, the school stresses they have, the life stresses, and just everything that's pushing down on them, especially coming through this pandemic. So I want to partner. I've actually communicated with Community Life and talked to them about ways that we can, take surveys and interviews of students and find ways that we can both advocate for the resources that we have here on campus, as well as continue to make students aware of this. After I had spoken to Student Life, they had also said that surveys that they had done recently had shown that many students still aren't really aware of what kind of resources there are. So that's one thing that I'm really pushing for, is just helping students to know that Trinity is here to hear their needs as well as to address them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I see Kevin.
Awesome. So my campaign is about unity, advocacy, and empowerment. And I also have 7 project-based plans that I will want to implement next year, but I believe I don't have enough time to explain all 7. So I'm going to go for one of them. So the major part of my campaign is to really advocate mental health. So as you guys probably know, now we're entering the 4th wave of the pandemic, which we're entering a mental health crisis. And I believe right now, is more important than ever that the whole school should have a effort to advocate for mental health. So what I'm gonna do is I would love to initiate a TW Mental Health Advisory Committee, which we're gonna include as much voices as possible on this committee, and to communicate the mental health matters on a monthly basis, and to be able to really help students as well as faculties who are in need. And also, I would also love to start a mental health fund, which we should raise funds both internally and externally. And the fund will majorly be used to develop the programs that are already at the school, as well as to help you to reduce the fees you need for, I believe it's counseling. So for each counseling appointment, you will need $25 to $35. So with the fund, it will able to be reduced. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Amazing. I think that was everybody, correct? Was there anyone else that wanted to say anything? Perfect. Then the next question that we're going to ask, I'm actually just going to assign each person say their position and have it go by their position. So I'm going to start off with our VPs, and then also the TWUSA account that's on here is going to be keeping track of your time. So I think they'll just message you when your time is up. And so the first person, I think I just said, yeah, we're going to start with our VPs, and we are going to have you guys answer the question is, what makes you uniquely qualified for this role? So this time we'll start with Andrew, and then we'll do Kevin.
Thank you so much, Abigail. So the position of VP, their main job is to take care of doc review, to host that, and then to also put on Tuesday business meetings for TWUSA. In addition to that, they're the organizational backbone of the team. So they're there to keep track of the organization and let the president be the visionary for the team. So during my time on TWUSA this past year, I've been able to learn how TWUSA operates. I've been in TBM every single week, and I've been able to understand how to lead TBM, how to put that on best. That makes me qualified for the position. In addition to that, the organizational elements of the role uniquely fit my business background. I'm business-oriented and organizationally oriented, which makes me an ideal candidate for this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Kevin?
Awesome. I feel like what makes me unique and stand out is my skills of being organized and being to keep on track of every single thing that is happening on TWUSA. Because as you guys probably know, TWUSA has many things on hand during their Tuesday meetings. And from my own experience, I've been learned how to really do good time management as well as to initiate team meetings. In the first year, I took about 18 courses and did pretty good on that. So that proves my time management. And for team meetings, this past year, I've been working at ICP and to initiate some of the team meetings as well. And I believe not being on TWUSA this year is not a very big problem for me because I'm a really fast learner, that any new things I can learn it very fast. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much, you guys, for answering those questions. So it's the same question, and I'll say it again, just in case y'all forgot, is what makes you uniquely qualified for this role? And I'm going to have our VPRs answer next. So let's do Olivia and then Krista.
Thank you, Abigail. So over my 2 years at Trinity, I have been blessed to be able to participate in several events and clubs. So I was on the Spartan dance team in my first year, and I really understood through that experience the commitment it takes to be part of a high pressure team where people have different characteristics and traits that they can bring to the table. I've also had the privilege of working with TRAC in my first year and volunteering at an outreach organization through them. So I also understand, even though TRAC is an outreach organization and not necessarily a student-run club, it is primarily run by students and it is fueled by students. And so I really understand what it's like to be part of a community like that, where you want the support of the school and the support of each other. And without that support, it can be really hard to do what you're passionate about and work as a team.
Thank you, Olivia. All right, Krista.
This room has a motion sensor light and it turned off because I was still for so long. Okay, so I think what makes me uniquely qualified for this role is the fact that I have a lot of experience when it comes to being a team leader. And part of the VPAR position is that you are the team leader for the faculty representatives. I led a group of my peers 2 years ago in coordinating and coaching a speech camp. I did speech and debate in high school, and then once I graduated, I was teaching other high schoolers how to do it. I also have been serving on TWUSA as the executive associate for this past semester, which was a wonderful experience in getting to train directly underneath Danny to see how she leads her team and how she encourages everyone and make sure everyone is being included and their strengths are being emphasized. I also actually got my Associate of Arts degree in speech communication. So I have had a lot of training in learning how to work with different kinds of people and how to, maximize everybody's strengths, as I already said.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, we are going to have our VPSRs go next. And again, the question is, what makes you uniquely qualified for this role? So let's do Ezekiel, Javin, and then Christine.
To me, this role on the TWUSA team is sort of the pastoral heart. And that's kind of my heart, that's my calling, to be a shepherd. So if you were to elect me, the one thing I would bring is just to be a listening ear, to see what you are worried about and make that happen, make that change happen. It will take a lot of work, but I'm promising you to be there and to actually show up every time. I think on top of being a shepherd or in nature, I also am a defender. So I will advocate for you. And I know this word has been thrown around a lot tonight, but I also want to let you know that I don't just say that lightly. I will speak out on things that matter to you and bring about change if you allow me to.
Thank you. And I said Javin next, right? Perfect.
All right. So the question for me was, why do I think I'd be unique for this role? So one of the things that I think that makes me unique is just the way that I like to be practical in the things that I say and in what I can deliver. I don't like to promise things that I can't do. I do like to, help people. And so one of the things I like to do in that is by making people feel as though they're a part of something. And coming into Trinity, I was this super awkward 17-year-old, and it was just the boldness of others that showed me that, hey, we can make everyone feel as though they belong. And the uniqueness of that is that I want to notice that everyone, whether a commuter or someone who lives on campus, or if they're attending online, that they are a part of Trinity and that their voice is going to be heard by me, and I'm going to make it heard by Trinity. And I want to do this, and I want to draw everyone together and create opportunities for like growth and understanding, and places where for me myself to be bold for them, and for places where they can be bold and step out and talk to me about any concerns they have or challenges they're facing during their time here at Trinity. I also believe that the connections I have within community life as well as on campus, and my experiences on campus myself as being an RA, a PI, an ambassador, and all the experience I have as a student here at Trinity prepares me for this experience of what and how can I relate to the students here, and how can I best serve them and advocate for them.
Thank you, Javin. Christine.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes me very unique is with the many years that I've been in Trinity. I mean, for those who can remember the purple lanyards that everyone got on orientation day, a high five. But throughout those years, I've been involved in volunteer work with some of the different clubs in Trinity, such as the Spaces Literary Journal. And I've also been involved as an employee for Sodexo and the maintenance department. And most importantly, currently as a CA in the collegiate program. From all of these experiences, I feel that I can bring some very good insight and diverse guidance to students who are needing it, and can and make the many resources available to them as well.
Thank you so much, Christine. All right, and Max, you are the last one to answer this, and I'll say it again just in case you forgot, is what makes you uniquely qualified for this role?
What I think makes me uniquely qualified for this role is just my experience with budgeting and with just in the industry of finance and accounting. I think that having both the background of accounting and finance helps with doing just the accounting role, because I can see I'm not only just keeping track of everything that's being spent and being recorded, but I'm also looking to the future in ways that we can save money, ways that we can improve what we're doing. I've had a few summer jobs that have really helped me in these past ways in the financial industry, and that has really set me up to succeed as a VP of Finance, I believe. Having this experience has really helped, and it'll be even more growing experience for me working for TWUSA and being able to budget and keep track and spend the money that we have allocated for the good of the school and for the good of the students.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. All right. And then just a reminder for people that are watching, I do see your questions, but don't worry, I will ask them after we get through some more, so do not be afraid. All right, our next question is, how will you create community in the midst of COVID? So I think I'm going to do it the same way, where I will start with our VP candidates, and I might switch up the order just so y'all stay on your toes. So this time I'm going to start with Kevin and then Andrew.
Awesome. So how I connect the community during COVID, I feel like this very fit in my own experience as well, because as an international student and commuter, I do have the feeling with many of you guys, the feeling of being isolated. And this past year, I've been in ICP to help connecting international students, as well as to connect between international students and locals through an online platform. And also this year, very exciting, our school started a new Access Chapter program, which is connecting commuters who lives all over the world. And me as the first chapter coordinator, is able to taking on this role and to really figure out new ways that to connect between commuters and the Trinity community. So I would say next year, if we're still going to go online, how would I connect is I will really hear each one of your needs, and I will be here anytime when you need me, and to advocate for your needs and to bring it to our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Andrew, you are next.
Thank you so much. So I totally agree with Kevin. I'm a commuter this year and an online student, and it's been really tough to feel that social disconnect. Sometimes being at home and not being able to engage with the TW community is really hard. So the way that I build community during a COVID environment is really lean into supporting commuters, really helping commuters to be connected to the community. So by partnering with a CCF, allowing them to be walking with us during the event process, we can ensure that commuters are completely represented and that they have a voice in TWUSA's events as we make them. That way, commuters can be fully represented and they can engage in the TWUSA events that we do more than ever before. Online students as well, we want to give you a voice. So we will be reaching out. As Kevin said, the access chapters is a great way to reach out to online students who are not able to come to campus. And we'll also utilize those resources to make sure that you are connected to TWUSA and connected to community here on campus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. We're going to do the same question, and we'll do our lovely VPAR candidates. And so I think I had Olivia go last time. So let's do Krista and then Olivia.
Thank you, Abigail. Yeah, I definitely believe in the idea that community can be wide-reaching. Like the whole Trinity family is one big community, right? But there are also smaller communities, and it's often when people get connected to something that's more specialized and they really find their place, that's where they feel the most connected. So I feel like having that value on the specialization is so important, which is why supporting the faculty representatives is really good. The faculty representatives are able to target people who are all studying one thing together, and as the VPAR can lead those team meetings and help them get their funding and get the word out there. Speaking of getting the word out there, as Andrew and Kevin mentioned, online students are really having that disconnect. I felt that personally last semester. So I would really want to emphasize that communication through social media, but not just that, but also other avenues like email, if that doesn't count as social media. I'm not sure where the line is. But I would like to do weekly club spotlights on Instagram so that all Trinity students can every week see, oh, this is a club that's operating. This is when it happens. This is what they do. And they can get interested and kind of get funneled into a niche where they can feel at home. And then when there's broader events, things that are happening online or maybe smaller things on campus, I'd like to send those out as emails to people so people who don't have Instagram or maybe aren't aware that that page exists can always be receiving the information in a newsletter type way so they know what's going on, because online students and sometimes commuters don't have the advantage of being able to walk around and see posters and see what's going on.
Thank you, Krista. All right, Olivia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Abigail. So in preparation for campaigning for this role, I actually reached out to the leaders of all the clubs on campus, and I asked them, what do you want to see changed at Trinity this year for your club that can better serve your club? And I've heard back already from a few of them. And one of the main things was that they would actually really like a space and a time or events where club leaders can actually come together and get to know each other better and even possibly plan collaborations or events that they can do together to expand their student outreach. That was a wonderful idea that the leader from the Young Women in Leadership Club actually gave to me. And so it's been really, really interesting to talk to her about that. And my second area where I want to create community is within faculties. I think a lot of students felt over the past year that they really didn't hear from their faculty representatives a lot. Some that I've spoke to don't even know whose theirs are. And whether that's just us all getting used to online learning and being so isolated in a virtual world, or whether that's just the way things were planned out this year, I plan to change that, and I plan to make it mandatory that at least twice a semester, faculty representatives are doing something very intentional by reaching out online, especially online at least twice a semester, but also if they want to do in-person on-campus stuff as well, as long as it's safe and passes codes. But yeah, reaching out to online students, whether it's a newsletter or a seminar with a prof or a special guest in their facility that they can learn from and feel reconnected to that area or specialty that they're inspired to learn more in.
Thank you so much, Olivia. All right, so it is the same question again. How will you create community in the midst of COVID? And we will have our VP SRs answer that question. And so let's do Christine, Ezekiel, and then Javin.
Thank you, Abby. For me, my whole vision for community is making it a two-way bridge between students and the TW community. First, I would like to start understanding the vision of different circles in our community and how they specifically want to reach out to students in their own way, and making it a point to translate those appropriately and in a way that resonates very well to the students that are online or even on campus. Specifically in making sure that the lines of contact between both sides are continuous and intact throughout the year.
Thank you, Christine.
All right. As I said earlier, with regards to community, I want to focus in on the commuters, the fourth years and the first years, but also in the in-between. As mentioned, monthly events for the commuters, I really want to get that done just so that they can feel included in this community, whether that's online or in person, if COVID allows. And for the fourth years, I really want to get them plugged in with first years so that they can also pass down what they've learned, having gone through the whole Trinity experience, and help those first years get plugged into the community. On top of that, I want to be consistent with events, whether that's online or in person, so that people can just know that there is something for them to rely on in case they feel isolated, in case they feel lost in just the school work. I think it's really important to just create space that people can just walk in and out whenever they feel.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Javin.
Hi, yeah, so one of the ways that I want to address community here at Trinity Western is, again, as a lot of people have been saying, is with the commuters. And so one of the newer programs that have been happening this year is the charter groups, or the chapter groups with commuters. And essentially there are these great ways for commuters to build community outside of Trinity Western and start building those bridges between each other. But one way that I want to expand that is acknowledging the fact that commuters have been paying the $75 TWUSA fee and saying that, hey, where is your money going towards, and how can we get you guys more involved in events? And one of those ways that I think that would be great is having an advocate for commuters on the TWUSA team, or having just another position within a TWUSA associate that represents commuters and shows them like, hey, these are some of our concerns that we have, or hey, here's some ideas that we could have that would help us to get further involved in the community, be it getting involved more in clubs here at Trinity, or getting involved in spaces that are, open to everyone. I also want to make aware the opportunities and resources that, everybody at Trinity has to them. So one thing that I want to do is reach out to the Richmond campus and propose further connections and build more bridges between the students over there and the students here. I know that there's a lot of students over there that have never even had any interactions with the school here. And I believe that a huge step for us would be, creating more online environments where we could meet up with them and, continue to strengthen relationships that we have with that campus over there.
Thank you so much, Javin. All right, Max, and then you're the last one to answer the question, is how will you create community in the midst of COVID?
Yeah, so I think that my role is less to do with than the rest of the candidates, less to do with create a community than you might think, but I still believe that there are ways that we can create community through this role. I think that in one case, so we would be having lots of different ideas for events pitched, and basically trying to figure out what events can work for the community, what can really build that. And for me, that would be a lot of planning and actually budgeting for those events and making sure that things are actually running smoothly. And I believe that through financial planning and actually making things run well and run smoothly throughout the entirety of the event, and the proper preparation can really build community, because a very solid event will do a lot more than something that was partially planned. So by properly planning things and really being careful and aware of what we're spending and what we're doing, will in effect build community through those events.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to quickly go over a couple of the questions that we have. One of the questions is specifically towards the VPAR candidates, and it's, what part of your campaign would you say sets you apart? And y'all can answer this in any particular order.
I think what sets my campaign apart, specifically for the VPAR, is just that the position involves sitting on lots of different committees. There are the chair of the club presidents, council. They obviously, as I've mentioned before, and we all know, lead the faculty representatives. I have seen these things happen being a part of TWUSA. I've seen how TBM runs, and I see how decisions get made and funding gets requested and clubs get ratified. I'm familiar with the process, which would mean that the people who need to ratify clubs for next year would be getting a candidate who understands how the process works and can help them transition smoothly.
Thank you so much. Olivia?
Yeah, so Krista had a great answer, and she is right. She would be a great candidate for someone who's familiar with the role. But for myself, I would be completely fresh to the role, and that means bringing in new ideas, new ways of doing things, and a new voice. And so I'm a fast learner. Anyone who knows me well in classes can say that, but I would bring something new to the table, and I would bring someone that isn't going to bring any old ideas or methods in with them that wouldn't necessarily work or be effective. I would be bringing new things to the table.
Thank you so much to both of you. We have a question now directed at Ezekiel, so it is your time to shine. And it says, you keep saying that you need to reach out to first years, but first years have the most events directed towards them specifically among any year. How do you think they need additional support?
Well, that's a great question. Thanks for whoever asked that question. I think the first year events that you probably talk about are the events that are happened before COVID. During COVID, we didn't really get the first years to experience the Trinity culture. So I think in me partnering with them, having them partner with the fourth years, they can not only kind of live that experience personally, but they can also just have the freedom to be themselves. For myself, I know that when I was the first year, it was kind of hard to just enjoy the events because it felt overwhelming. It felt like it was putting on a show. And I think having the mentoring system would be a lot more personal, a lot more intimate, to just help them to be themselves and feel like they belong somewhere on campus.
Thank you so much, Ezekiel. There is another question that is directed at Andrew, and it's quite a long question, so whoever asked this, I hope that I can do justice by summarizing it a little bit. But it's on the topic of commuters, and one thing that they're noting is that every single year, usually TWUSA candidates promise that we will reach out to commuters, and they said with their experience that hasn't happened. And so they're asking, especially with the possibility of having face-to-face events, how will you reach out to commuters? And then they also note, for example, that includes international students that don't have a car.
Thank you so much. That's a fantastic question. I totally agree with you. So many times it's promised that we'll help commuters, and then people don't follow through when they actually get elected. I'm here for change. When I get elected, I will follow through on what I promise because I have thoroughly researched how to come about this and how to bring a good solution. I'm here in the Collegium right now where I've spent a lot of my time studying, and this is a place that I've really grown to enjoy. And I've heard the concerns and I've heard the questions of the commuters, and I'm here to provide you an answer. So rather than give you a commuter rep on the TWUSA, to create a new position within TWUSA as a rep, we want to take one of your people, a CCF, Collegium Community Facilitator, and involve you in what we're doing. Give you the decision making, help you be involved in how we can advocate for you, how we can pull you in. We want commuters to be part of the decision making process. This is something that's never been done, and I am positive that it can be done because I've reached out to Glenn Hansen, the head of the Collegium program, and I've reached out to possible candidates for next year's CCF position, and they are all in. They are willing to jump in with me and to be involved with TWUSA. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think we have one last question. I do realize it is 8:46, so I will just ask this one last one and then give you guys a chance to make closing remarks. And the question is, I don't know if this is directed at anybody, but I'll give you all a chance to answer it very quickly, 30 seconds. It is, how will you improve accessibility to campus services? Are there things that you would want to change? And I believe it's in the chat, so you can see it if you forget. But let's just do VP, VPAR, VPSR, and then VPF. Sorry, Max, you're last again. And then let's do, Kevin and then Andrew.
Awesome. So how will I improve accessibility to campus services? First of all, I know as a commuter, international students, or like whoever you are, honestly, the services provided at campus sometimes just doesn't work for you. For example, if you're going for laundry services, you need a loonie and a quarter. But right now we only have a loonie machine near the bookstore, and when you need to have a quarter, you have to go in the bookstore to ask, right? But my proposal is TWUSA can actually purchase a quarter machine right beside the loonie machine that allows you to do your laundry, you know? And another thing I've been heard is that especially international students, they're not getting their mails and for some reason. So I would love to hear more on that and on ways to help with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, Andrew.
Thank you so much. So how will I improve accessibility to campus services? So first, I want to be able to hear you. I want to give you a voice so you can voice your concerns on exactly what services are needing improvement. For instance, if there's laundry services that need improvement, I'd love to hear you and give you a voice. So some things that I'd like to change is in regards to, I've heard some concerns about the laundry services that they need improvement, and maybe they're too far. Another thing that I think could use improvement is we've talked about water bottle filling stations going in around campus. I think that is something that could be improved and give you more access to something that would improve your quality of life. Thank you.
And then let's do VPAR, Krista, and then Olivia.
When it comes to campus services, I think that the second pillar of my platform, which is cooperation, which I haven't had a chance to mention yet, would really come into play there. So as the VPAR, specifically, I would be helping with academic relations. But of course, if students had problems being having access to certain things on campus if they needed, they would be able to come to me, and I would have that relationship with the vice president of finance and also the vice president of student relations to make sure that that gets solved, because cooperation is such an important aspect of being a team. And I would make sure that I would be accessible and present, whether it's on social media or by email or just in person, so that if people had problems, they would know that they had someone to come to, someone to ask, and someone who can point them in the right direction for where things can be fixed.
Excellent. And then quickly, Olivia.
So I see accessibility in two ways. The first way is just general accessibility to clubs and faculty on campus, and the second is more specific accessibility that all of us might not think about. So VPs of AR are kind of three main pillars of the job are representing academic freedom, and then clubs, and then faculty representatives. So with all three of those areas, I really want to advocate for making clubs, faculties, and classrooms more accessible to students who Trinity and the larger population might not always think about. So if a student has an issue with, say they have a hearing disability and the profs won't put subtitles on one of the videos that they are requiring to the class to watch, bringing that to myself and then the VP of SR and bringing it to the professor to see if they can make that change so that it's more accessible to students. Advocating for events with faculty reps to also be inclusive. If it's an in-person event, making sure that it's wheelchair accessible and flat ground, making sure that it's not a crazy loud and busy place unless that's the point of the event. With online events, making sure again that there's a subtitle option, or if a student has a hearing disability or trouble hearing, making sure that they have access to some kind of ongoing transcript or pre-written transcript to make sure that all of our students at Trinity are able to access it and totally involve themselves in the student population and community.
Thank you so much, Olivia. We'll do Christine, Javin, and then Ezekiel.
For when I think about campus services, I picture cooperation between faculty and students, and also registrar and students. For me personally, as I've said before, I would make it a point to not just have it always for the students to contact professors on their own with their own effort, but I think it's also very important that that the certain difficulty or issue that the student is specifically having, that would be made aware to the faculty, and they also reach out to them. That is basically the overall arc of what I would want to improve on when it comes to accessibility to certain campus services.
Thank you so much.
So I interpret this idea of accessibility in a variety of ways, but I think that's really huge to being a VPSR. It's just like hearing every point of view that I can hear and take everybody's voice and apply it to how I can improve accessibility on campus. So one of those ways is how people find it hard to access the specific resources that we have here on campus. And specifically the fact that, like Community Life has said, that many students don't know how or don't know where to access, places that can help them with mental health and counseling. Like, how do they sign up for that? I think that advocating and making those resources either easier to access through websites, I don't know what that would be, either redesigning sites or just, proposing more of those online through social media and showing people that, these are ways that work and it makes it easy to get help. I also see it as physical ways to getting help. Say if somebody has difficulties getting to these areas, how can we make it easier for them? I see that, in the VPSR position, the greatest thing that I can do is, hear where people want changes. And one of the other things I've heard for campus services is the help desk request. And it might be a semi-simple thing, but people wanting help on campus for dorms, they can't receive help after the help desk requests are closed at a certain time at night, as well as on weekends, they cannot get a hold of anybody. So I would kind of want to change that and implement a way that these people could get access to these services during the times where nobody's there and when they may need it most.
Thank you, Javin. All right, Ezekiel.
All right. So for the past 2 years, I've kind of had the opportunity to work behind the scenes of getting stuff out to students. So I definitely understand what Javin was saying about it's really hard for student life to let students know how to get help for mental health, because I've closely worked with the person, market, and everything student life related. So for me personally, it would just be putting stuff in social media, because I've had experience in that, but also making posters, getting the word out physically so that students on campus can hear and know about what's happening here on campus. This position is really the main position where our job would be to let you students know what's happening on campus. So I think one of the ways I personally want to make that change would be Wi-Fi. We all know the Wi-Fi here on campus could be a lot better. So I would want to start conversations to kind of help see how we can make certain parts of campus have better connection than others. I'm also thinking of laundry. I know Douglas, laundry machines are not the greatest because I've been there, and it's really hard. Some students don't even do their laundry there. So I would want to start conversations to change in that. So those are kind of the small steps that I want to take towards a better tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Ezekiel. All right, Max, close us off.
Sorry, it's been quite a while. Could you repeat the question just so I don't mess up?
Yes, I can. It is, how will you improve accessibility to campus services, and are there things that you would want to change?
Okay. Yeah, so I think ways to improve accessibility to campus services really, again, I think that a lot of people look at the role of VP of Finance and would say that doesn't really apply in a lot of ways. But again, I think that it does really have to pay attention to what we're actually what ideas are proposed. And so that means going through every single event that's proposed and every idea that's actually going through us. It's maybe it needs improving laundry or putting water fountains in certain places, like some of the other candidates had said. But then actually figuring out how much that could cost and how much that is actually going to work and how we can optimize that in the best way. So that would be taking other ideas that are put forward by other candidates and other members of TWUSA, and actually figuring out the financial way that we can do that and the way we can achieve that goal. And I think that would be the primary way that we would be able to do that, and just be going through a lot of different ideas and really figuring out what makes the most sense and what can we actually do as a school, and what would really improve the standards for us at Trinity here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to give you all the opportunity to make some quick closing remarks, and then we will have about a 5-minute break and allow some other people to roll in for the presidential debate. So let's see, how should we do this? Let's go backwards this time. And Max, I'll give you the opportunity to do your quick closing remarks, and then we'll do the VPSRs, VPARs, and then the vice president.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks to everyone who is currently here. I think it looks like we've got 63 participants. So that's really cool to see people viewing and just paying attention to the elections here. And so I'm excited for what's to come. I'm really excited to see how things go. I look forward to the next couple of weeks of how things look. I just want everyone to know that if anyone has any questions, feel free to message me. I have an Instagram I think it's pretty easy to find. It's just my name. So feel free to message me at any time. I'd love to answer any questions you have. And yeah, thanks.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Let's do Javin, Christine, and then Ezekiel.
Just like Max, I'd like to thank everybody who came out to watch the panel and give their time to hearing what we have to say. And just in closing, I'd like to say, going forward, if I do get the VPSR position, I hope to build on what the previous VPSR has done this year and all the great work they've done for Trinity. And I see how much the COVID situation has opened our eyes to the many situation and opportunities that Trinity now has. And I feel like we're missing out on a whole bunch of resources. Now we can totally, push forward and better your opportunities during and after university. And, be that for your graduations and be that for, your first intros into school and during your time here online, and after as well online. And I just want to believe that it's time we truly focus on the boldness that is, bringing us together with all the resources that we have.
Awesome. Thank you, Javin. Christine.
Yeah, I just want to thank all of the attendants that have taken the time tonight to visit and engage in this panel. And I am looking for, if I were elected as VPSR, I'm very much looking forward to helping you and encouraging you to advocate for yourselves and building a two-way street between the university and our students. I am very much also looking forward to building or easing you back into the community and finding a way to find a place of refuge on campus.
Yeah, like it's been said, thank you for joining us tonight. I think we all truly appreciate the time you took to be here. Yeah, I just want to say, if I were to be elected, I would be everyone's VPSR, and that includes the candidates running with me right now. So I would still love to include their ideas in making a better tomorrow for Trinity. And if not, it would have been a great honor to be with these people on this panel tonight. Thank you again. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me on social media. Ezekiel 4 VPSR. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ezekiel. Let's do Olivia and then Krista.
Like everyone before me said, thank you everyone for coming. I know it means a lot to all of us that you guys were here to listen to our ideas and kind of use your opportunity to be interactive students and get to know who's candidates for this year and who you can possibly vote for. If you were to elect me for VP of AR, I promise to advocate for you in all aspects of Trinity life that I am able, and as well be an open person where you can come to build community and ask questions and bring your concerns to. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Olivia_core, very simple. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to see you guys on my Instagram and asking questions, and yeah.
Thanks, Olivia.
As everyone's already said, yes, thank you so much to everyone who showed up. It's so cool that we're able to still address the school like this, even though we are not all gathered in one place in person. I know that I may be a new and a fresh face. I actually just moved here 2 weeks ago, considering that I just transferred in last semester. So I know what it feels like to be completely online, to feel isolated, to feel disconnected from the community, and what it feels like to be new. But not only am I a new face, I know how TWUSA runs. And also, like Olivia said, it's so important to have fresh perspective. And I believe that with my previous leadership experience applied to the new situation that's here at Trinity, I can bring that fresh perspective and then make sure that things really happen and things really get done. So if I get elected as VPAR, I just want you to know I'd always be there for you. I'm always here for you now. And I'd love to hear any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you just want to chat, because I'd really like to make friends since I just got here. My Instagram is krista.4.vpar on Instagram, as I said. Thank you so much again for tuning in.
Thank you, Krista. And let's do Andrew and then Kevin.
Awesome. Well, once again, I want to thank everyone for coming here. It does mean a lot to us that you'd stay and listen. I want to wrap up with just one small sentiment about my platform. I hear you. I will advocate for you, and I want to give you a voice. I'm not going to make empty promises. I have thoroughly researched everything in my platform, and I have the experience to ensure that I will follow through. So I'd love to hear from you. If you want to check out my Instagram, my Facebook, I have an email that you can reach out to me, or you can actually reach out to me by cell phone, by call or text. My number is 604-626-6421. I would really, really love to sit down and have a chat or even call you. So thank you again for listening, and please, I'd love to hear you and give you a voice. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. And if you haven't noticed, I would say Andrew is a great candidate, and Andrew and I do have very different strengths as well as skills at. So what I would encourage you to do in this next week is to follow our Instagram form and to see what each one of us is really promoting, and are we really helping you? Is our plans really benefits you? Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna say. And if you haven't followed my Instagram account, please follow Kevin Chiver VP. Kevin Chiver VP. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if y'all didn't get to write down the Instagram names, if you go on TWUSA's Instagram, we also have them linked there, so you can find them very easily. But thank you so much to everyone for coming out today. I have full confidence in all of these candidates. They're excellent people, and I believe they'll do excellent things for TWUSA. And so with that, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then at about 9:10ish, we'll go ahead and jump into the presidential debate. So I know that TWUSA mentioned this to you for the panelists that are on here right now, but if you can just turn off your camera and sound during the break, we will see you all in about 5 minutes. Thanks so much.